have team coverage tonight. Tim Tender is live in the Severe Weather Center with more on what we can expect through the night and for your weekend.
But first, Dave Roush standing by live in Clearfield County with more on what the conditions are like right now. David?
Marty, as you can see, the snow continues here in the northern part of the viewing area. Today's weather caused some serious travel headaches for folks all across all parts of the Alleghenies. Here's a look at Interstate 80 traffic in Jefferson County. Now, these drivers got lucky being able to avoid some of the numerous backups that occurred, especially east of Clearfield Mountain. But it wasn't just motorists who dealt with delays today. Passengers at all of the region's commuter airports are dealing with delayed and canceled flights. Now they're scrambling to make other travel arrangements, like Deacon Bob Denoon, who says he'll now use his backup plan of driving to Pittsburgh to begin his journey to Oregon.
I've never been one to fly with a parachute strapped on me, so you know, if it takes a little delay or a little detour, I would rather have a happy landing than a bad landing.
Okay. And of course, you've heard us say it before. If you have flight plans, if you have any evening plans, always a good idea to call ahead and check, make sure everything is still a go. Now, coming up new at 6 tonight, we'll have some new information for you regarding if you ever come up on an accident scene and find yourself calling 911, there are some things you need to know about what to do so that you can help dispatchers and emergency personnel the best you possibly can. For reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
Dave Roush is live in Clearfield County. He begins our team coverage tonight. Dave?
That's right. Anyone who was near one of these today knows, this police scanner knows that saying that emergency crews were very busy today is a gross understatement. Here's a look at drivers along Interstate 80 in Washington Township. These folks actually got very lucky. That roadway was open in Jefferson County, but peppered with minor accidents and cars sliding off the roadway, mainly east of Clearfield Mountain. The drivers of two SUVs in Johnstown were not quite so lucky. This crash sent both drivers to the hospital after one of them lost control and smashed right into the other. And a section of 6th Avenue in Altoona is expected to be closed until at least 6:30 tonight after an accident damaged a utility pole. We spoke to a 911 coordinator today about how you can better help dispatchers and emergency crews should you find yourself needing to call in an accident using 911, and here's what they had to say today.
If you do see an accident, whether you see it happen or you come onto the accident, we're advising, at least stop and make contact with the people in the vehicle, just to see if they're injured, if they need assistance. If they're not injured, then, it saves response from the emergency responders.
Also, if you do stop to help a stranded or wrecked motorist, be sure to get your car off of the roadway into a safe place. That way, you don't end up becoming the next victim of a crash. Reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
And now by in the Severe Weather Center with more on exactly what we can expect out of this storm. But first, we have more on the flooding in parts of our area today. Dave Roush is live in Clearfield County with that. Dave?
That's right. Early warnings this morning were that the Clarion River was expected to overflow its banks around Cooksburg. Now, that's in northern Jefferson County, but it actually turned out that northern Elk County is where the earliest problems started to pour in. Take Johnsonburg, for example, where the east and west branches of the Clarion come together. Students there were dismissed from school at lunchtime after waters from the Clarion flooded several sections of Route 219. The Unimart parking lot was underwater, and several sites that lie close to the river were affected. Fire crews in DuBois and other northern parts of the region were called out to help pump water that leaked into basements. To blame for the mess, a combination of factors, including steady rains and melting snowpacks that proved to be just too much for small streams and creeks. Late in the morning, that rain changed over to snow and eventually stopped after lunchtime. That gave an opportunity for some of those streams and creeks to recover a little bit, and if not go down, at least stop the process of rising, those waters coming even higher. So now, late in the afternoon, things are starting to get back to normal. Reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
Another business here in the Alleghenies is the victim of a Canadian check writing scam. Dave Roush is live with the details, new at 6. Dave?
We first told you several months ago about the Punxsutawney Spirit after scammers mailed exact replicas of their vendor checks to recipients around the country. This time it's happening the same exact scam, but a different victim. Officials at Hardware Specialties, they're a hardware supplier in State College in DuBois, says now their accounts have been compromised. They learned of the scam after a check cashing company in Florida called them to confirm that a check they were processing was actually legitimate. The scammers asked people to cash the check and send the money to an address in Canada as a tax payment on major lottery winnings. The checks are exact replicas right down to the signature, account number, and routing number, but luckily Hardware Specialty says their bank caught on just in time.
Well, it's in this day and age, I guess you have to expect it. You don't want it to happen, but you know it's out there. And you have to take every precaution, and we'll be a little more careful in the future about watching our canceled checks.
And because it was caught by the bank so early, Hardware Specialty says they did not lose any money as a result of this scam. But that's not always the case with other businesses who are victimized. So if you happen to get a letter in the mail that says you've won a major lottery that includes a check, if you're at all suspicious, you should not try to cash the check. Instead, contact your local police. Reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
Their families.
Patrons trying to use the St. Mary's Public Library in Elk County being greeted by locked doors and covered windows. Dave Roush is live in Clearfield County to explain all of that tonight. Dave?
Lisa, that library will be closed for 2 weeks while work crews make renovations to the inside of the library, more specifically replacing floor tiles that contain asbestos. Many of the tiles in the library haven't been replaced since the building was built 40 years ago. Right now, crews are removing that tile and sealing off specific areas to keep any airborne asbestos to a minimum. During the closure, the library drop boxes are also covered up. Signs indicate that no books or materials will be due during the next 2 weeks, and any patrons who do have items checked out will not accrue any fines for keeping their items until after the closure. Now, the project is set to wrap up and the library to reopen on March 26th. The payment for that project, the money coming from a community development block grant program. Reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
A look, well, as the weather warms and springtime approaches, you may notice your commute getting a little bumpier thanks to potholes. Dave Roush is live with more on this in Clearfield County tonight. Dave?
Marty, you see them, you try to avoid them, and sometimes potholes are just too big or they're in inconvenient places, or you don't notice them right away because you're following traffic a little closely in front of you. But potholes are not only annoying, they can do very serious damage to your car. Now, potholes tend to grow during this time of the year because as the temperature fluctuates, water can seep into the roadway, then freeze and expand, causing that pavement to break apart. We're now heading into that time of the year with this week's warm-up and later cool-down for the weekend. Today, we stopped by Cataldo's Collision in DuBois, where owner Carney Cataldo says they're already starting to see customers with broken wheels, bent rims, cars that are out of alignment, and other steering and linkage problems that come from pothole hits.
We've had some already this year that come in and they think they just have a tire out of balance, and we check it and the wheel is actually bent. It happens more with an alloy wheel that you can't see it. The steel wheels, usually you can see it. Sometimes the wheel is bent on the inside where it's not visible to the person, to the owner.
Of course, PennDOT is now starting up their efforts to patch those potholes, and they're asking for your help. If you have a big pothole you see on the way to or from work or school, call the pothole hotline. It's 1-800-FIX-ROAD. PennDOT says they'll get right on it right away. In the meantime, if you do hit a pothole and later notice any kind of shimmying or shaking from your car, you definitely should get it to a service tech right away. Reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
If you know of a road with bad potholes, let us know about it. Email where. It's out with the new and in with the old when it comes to answering phones at the DuBois Municipal Building. Dave Roush live in Clearfield County with more on this tonight. Dave?
Marty, you know it can be one of the most annoying things you'll ever encounter when trying to call a business. A pre-recorded machine message telling you to enter a 1 and then enter a 3 and then enter your shoe size, and it really can get ridiculous. But now the city of DuBois has put a stop to all that. They've implemented a new telephone system, and now when you call the city building, phones ring in 4 separate offices where a real, living, breathing human being will take your call and either field your question or direct you to the person who can. So far, the response from the public has been mixed. Those who are used to calling in regularly are surprised to actually get an answer. It's another job for city employees to do while working on other things, but they say that so far it's not been too much of a hassle.
I do prefer talking to someone instead of staying on the line for 15 minutes waiting for somebody to come on that is a person. So yes, I think it's a good thing.
And we're going to have a transition period here that's going to be a little rough, but most of all, we're pleased. We think this is the way to go, and we're extremely happy about it. We're thinking we're making a move into the future, and hopefully maybe many places will follow us.
As you heard him say, the mayor contends this is the way of the future, and he really believes that more businesses will follow suit and start going back to the old way of answering telephones. Reporting live from the Clearfield County Mobile Newsroom, I'm Dave Roush, Channel 6 News.
Covering the Alleghenies, we begin in Clarion County.